And hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Space Fam. We have an incredible group for you tonight. International group, people that are doing so many different amazing things, except for Rachel, who is apparently here to talk about Studio Ghibli, and that's really fine. We're going to talk about that all night tonight.
That was your idea.
No idea what's going on right now, right? Miriam, we're going to start with you. We're going to go around to everybody on the panel. Everyone, let everybody know who you are, what you do, and we are going to go from there.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Ron. Hi, everyone. I'm Miriam. I'm based in Toronto. I work as a commercial space consultant, so helping companies in the space industry and space agencies with commercial and economic projects. Outside of that, I volunteer with SGAC, SEDS Canada, World Space Week Association. So I really like to give back to the community. I'm also interested in astrobiology and follow the latest developments there.
Perfect, because we're definitely going to talk about astrobiology tonight. How can we not? But before we get to that, we have to talk to Joseph Jupiter Joe Martinez.
Hey there, Ron Comet. Thanks for having me. I've been dying to be on here. I'm glad that we were able to make it happen. First off, just your normal, astronomy nerd. I love astronomy. I do outreach and try and educate people about space exploration and just all different topics about, astronomy in general. And that also includes robotics and building rockets and just educating kids about everything that will get them inspired so they can keep looking up and stop looking at their phones. Aside from that,
Aside
from that, I just try and do as much outreach as I possibly can. And it's always something different. So it's not always telescopes. Sometimes it's just talking about models or talking about the Earth one way or another. When I'm not doing my outreach in that fashion, I'm also a NASA Solar System ambassador. So I do a lot of outreach with local museums and libraries and things of that nature. So we try and give back to the community as much as possible. And when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to do some hiking or camping or something that interests me.
Awesome.
Love it. Rachel, tell everybody about yourself and what is going on over there. Most people know you with a very short haircut and the redhead, and like today something's different. So there's a reason why.
I'm very versatile. I like to change my look. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel. Some of you might know me as Cosmic Rachel on Twitter. I am the business development specialist for a company called Triton Systems. We manufacture industrial computers for military, aerospace, and so I get to talk to a lot of brilliant people every single day. Aside from that, that's by day. By every other moment in between, I'm a space communicator, I'm a tech communicator through my Twitter. On my Instagram, I like to talk about eco-conscious fashion and thrifting. And so I love to talk about a lot of things. And I am here tonight dressed as Sailor Venus. Many of you might recognize it. If you don't, you probably think like, what is this girl doing? But it's a fantastic night to talk about Venus, who we all know and love. And I really wanted to, get into the Venus spirit with a Sailor Venus cosplay. Is that good?
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Russ Glenn, the man, the myth, the legend. There's a lot for you to say. So Russ is not just a one of our guests tonight. He is also going to be our musical guest. And you all are going to hate him even more. Like, one, you're going to love him. And then you're going to hear him sing and you're going to be like, oh my God, I hate this guy. You should not have this much talent. And that's why we love him. So Russ, tell us about you, bro.
Well, that explains this mic right here. Like, normally I don't do a show with a, stage mic. But anyway, so yeah, I'm excited to play some songs tonight. I'm a singer-songwriter here in Dripping Springs, Texas. So Dripping Springs, just outside of Austin. Austin has a great music tradition, but so does Dripping Springs. And there's even a Johnny Cash song called Dripping Springs. You should check it out sometime after the show. I'm also the director of education for SLU. SLU is a social astronomy site. We have a couple of observatories, one in the Northern Hemisphere and one in the Southern Hemisphere. And we really bring people together to look at telescopes. We do a lot of star parties. We offer a really great Quest curriculum to learn about space. So that's my job, is to be a part of the education process. So I'm excited to be here chatting with you guys and playing some tunes later on.
Hells yeah. And finally, we have my man who was kind enough to get up very early in the morning. He's in India. Sunny, tell us all about yourself as well as Star, your company, your rocket company, and all the amazing things you're doing, man.
First of all, thank you so much, Ron, for having me here. Hello, everyone. My name is Sunny, and I'm the founder and director at Star. So I started STAR at the age of 19, and since then we are into space education. We have educated 35,000 plus students across the world. And we build high-powered rockets. Recently, we started another company named Star Orbitals, which is focusing on developing the small satellite launch vehicles for putting 500 kg payload to 150 kg payload to the orbit of 500 kilometers and even beyond the low Earth orbit. So this is what we do.
So awesome. So, I mean, how else can we start tonight other than talking about Venus? So let's just talk about the fact that when we look at this, this is something that Carl Sagan talked about almost 50 years ago, right? So we're all excited about Mars. Hello, I work for Explore Mars. I work for I Love Mars. I'm one of the co-creators for that. I'm one of the pretty much the main co-host right now for Red Planet Radio for the Mars Society. So I'm obviously a huge fan of Mars. But this week changed everything and everyone's excited. The memes are crazy. We're looking exactly like the thoughts and ideas about what's going on with Venus. So let's start with the fact that everyone's like, there's life on Venus. No, that's not what happened. So is there anyone that wants to kind of break down what we heard earlier this week? Joe, I know you're really great about that. Anyone else? So raise your hand if you want to start first about what we heard earlier this week. Anybody? Sonny. Perfect. Sonny, go first.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. So, like even I used to be fascinated about Mars, and I'm still fascinated about it. But this week, when we came to know about the phosphine, which is just a very simple molecule that contains phosphorus and hydrogen, that was detected in the atmosphere of the Venus, and that completely changed the perspective of every space pioneer, which they had for Venus. And this shows that how mysterious our universe is. Like, we think that we know everything, but the fact is we don't know anything. So we all had our eyes on Mars, but then I think I'm going to change my Instagram handle as well now, Mr. Venus 27, because now we are also targeting Venus, and we also are putting our eyes on Venus so that we can get to know a lot of things. And obviously, meme artists have got a new meme material to work on. So, this was a great discovery, and now looking forward for more missions to Venus from all the countries.
Love it. Okay, so who's next? Who else is excited about this? I know that's going to be pretty much everybody here. So what do you think? Well, let's talk to you, bro. All right, as soon as everybody's like, okay, so I'll go with Russ first thing, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, so phosphine in our atmosphere, there's no known methods of production that are not anthropogenic. So that means humans in producing it through industrial processes or microbial. So that's why it's exciting now. That the thing to approach this with a little bit of caution is because there's obviously some chemistry that we may not understand about Venus, probably a lot of the chemistry of the atmosphere. So it certainly is super exciting because we only know of phosphine from human sources or from microbial sources. So that's why it's such an interesting molecule. And as Sonny pointed out, it's phosphorus and hydrogen. It's a pretty simple molecule. But there's no, we need to learn more about the possible routes of production. We do see it on other planets. So Jupiter has phosphine, but there's other atmospheric chemistry that's going on at the very deep levels of Jupiter and then it gets upwelled to where we can actually detect it in the atmosphere. So there may be like chemical routes to production for phosphine, but we don't really know about that. So.
Hold it, Joe. Going to go to you, and then next I'm going to go to you, Miriam, and then Cosmic Rachel. Joe, you are muted. Hold on a second. There you go. I got you.
There we
go ahead.
So yeah, what I was basically going to say was, us finding phosphine in the atmosphere. Granted, we don't know where it's coming from. We don't know if it's microbial life or what have it. But at least here on Earth, when we're looking at things like extremophiles that are living in environments that we normally wouldn't expect to find life, it's one of those catalysts that we see that prompts us to say we need to investigate. And with Venus being so close to Earth, it would just make sense to start sending more missions to Venus to start doing that exploration. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really hoping that that's the direction that we go. We're constantly looking at sending these really long missions out to, let's say, Jupiter, or to study Europa or Titan. around Saturn. These missions take a lot longer, and the longer the missions, the more things can go wrong. Whereas, having these short duration missions that can go to Venus, we could actually start investigating a lot more. So definitely very excited about it.
Love it. Miriam, hit us.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think a lot of people, like what they already talked about, it's sort of the similar feelings I
Wait,
have.
just a quick
where-
moment. I mean, you don't have any interest whatsoever in astrobiology, right? That's not your thing. It's not what you want to do. This doesn't excite you. You're not excited
Yeah,
at
I
all, right?
No, I totally am. When I read the news, I was watching the press release by the Royal Astronomical Society, and I remember I just couldn't focus at all on my work. I was constantly watching what they were talking about. It was so interesting because, as Russ and others mentioned, here on Earth, we see it from human activity. We believe that microorganisms, anaerobic microorganisms, produce phosphine, and as far as we know, the amount that was detected on Venus, I believe it was 20 parts per billion. That amount, as far as we know, it hasn't been proven to be generated by abiotic sources. So that means not life. Like, they've tried to investigate a few other potential modeling, like trying to see if it could be volcanic outgassing, other such geological processes, but nothing that they tried to model so far could produce that amount. So it's interesting. Like, it's not to say that there is life for sure, but it's something that needs to be investigated further, and especially in the cloud decks of Venus, because Venus itself is extremely hot, right? We have temperatures of like over 465 degrees Celsius, a lot of pressure, but in the clouds where they've detected this biosignature, it's more temperate. So the temperature is kind of right. We've noticed something that could potentially be produced by microbes. So it's very interesting.
And so Sailor Venus has definitely something to say. So what do you think?
I feel so bad that we outed Venus for smelling terrible. Like, are we gonna talk about that? Like, poor Venus. Like, we're like, oh, Venus smells like fish. I mean, I'm just kidding. But it's so exciting because, I mean, life needs an energy source. And so, like, this is pointing to, like, Venus has the sun, there's sulfuric acid. And it's like, okay, we have life here. So it kind of points us in a direction of there's possibilities that it isn't just here. And so, I mean, I hope in my human lifetime that we will find out, like, what was the recipe for that? Because I want to know, because we don't know yet. That's so exciting. So I'm definitely like, very starry-eyed about this. Like, I just
Well played. So here's a big thing too, that so Russia's kind of like, we own Venus.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, love you guys, but still, the whole point is that a lot of people have asked the question, and I know I have great friends, and probably a lot of people that will be in the conversation in the comments that are going to talk about it, is that people say because they sent the two Venusian the two Venusian missions, that something landed on Venus a long time ago. Venus one is terrifying. At one point, it was probably very similar to here on Earth, but it didn't have that crazy impact that we had with Theia. When Theia smashed into Earth, it became created a moon. There's a lot to that, right? So it may have had a chance to have life early. And now people are saying, well, Russia sent these things, and they may not have been as serious about planetary protection as we are now. But the idea of it being stuck in the atmosphere is something that's kind of crazy. So maybe not. So is there anyone here that has any thoughts on that? Like, do you think that it may be that they weren't as careful as they should have been in the 70s-ish when it happened? And is that something that's a possibility, or do you think it might be something more natural? So feel free to throw a hand up and let me know if you want to jump in on that, because I know this is an exciting topic. Anyone? No, we're all scared of Russia because we have somebody that's terrifying. Okay, Ross, go ahead.
First of all, when you said Russia claimed Venus, I thought you said Russ just claimed Venus, and I was like, oh wait, I don't remember doing that. It was like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like I suppose it's always possible that there is contamination. I don't know what the Russian protocols were for planetary protections. I suppose it's a possibility, and so it's not one that we can necessarily rule out. But as has been mentioned, there's so much more that we need to try to understand about what's going on here. And so I think it's really a good call for us to send some kind of a blimp blimp to Venus, so it can just kind of bob around in the cloud decks and collect some in situ measurements, and really get to the bottom of this.
My man, Miriam, I think I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ron, I mean, it's interesting because the last lander mission that went to Venus was in the 80s. So the Venera spacecraft from Russia, that's correct. And I mean, you talked about potential contamination, and that's always an issue. And that's why we have planetary protection and all these different organizations thinking about, the procedures of sterilization and the protocols that need to be taken before sending a mission to another planetary body. But it's true, we don't know what Russia was doing back then. So it could be a possibility. Can't really say either way, but I definitely agree that we need to investigate this further. So like an atmospheric sampling mission that goes and orbits Venus and sort of tries to collect maybe a sample and investigate further what's going on would be definitely very interesting.
So, I mean, this is an exciting thing. So we hear that there are different, obviously everyone's kind of making the jokes with the memes, but Rocket Lab, one of my favorites, has been talking about going there for a while. Carl Sagan said we should have went there a long time ago. David Grinspoon, the man, the myth, the legend, has talked about it forever of the possibilities of this. I mean, is everything going to move forward to this now? So we're all going to Mars. And then now it's like, maybe we should go elsewhere. Sonny, the man with the friggin' rocket company, you want to now go to Venus and be like, India's going to Venus first. Let's prove this.
So, as you mentioned, like Rocket Labs are now planning for the Venus mission because it's not so discovered yet, and there are a lot of things to be discovered. But still, it's a difference between finding life somewhere and settling a life somewhere. So it completely depends on the on the purpose of the company. Like if you talk about the companies like SpaceX and the other companies who have the purpose of making like humanity interplanetary species, then they will be obviously focusing on the planets like Mars. But like if the companies have the purpose of discovering life and finding out the footprints of the life, then I guess the Venus is going to be the next destination for them.
My man, Joe. So I mean, you look up at the night sky, and you obviously love Jupiter, and Jupiter has some similar things there. But I mean, how excited are you about this, man? You obviously it's a big thing for all of us. We're all excited about life. It doesn't matter where it is. But I mean, you look up the night sky. How excited about this are you?
I mean, it's really exciting because anything that gets people, at least from my standpoint, because I do so much public outreach. Anything that can get people more excited to start asking questions, whatever those questions are. Is there life on Mars? Is there life on Venus? Is there, do you see like little green men on the moon? I don't care what the questions are. If it gets them inspired to start asking questions and then start getting educated, then that's what I want. And right now, once this was announced, I probably got about 15 direct messages, like minutes after that. And people are asking, can we see something? Can you show me? Listen, I can show you Venus. I will be glad to bring telescopes out. Looks beautiful. It's great that, it's one of the objects in the sky that we can actually see phases just like we do with the moon. So people don't, you have to explain that to them on why that happens. But yeah, outside of that, just the interest that I'm getting from general public now, it's everything that I'm hoping for. So as things move on, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Rach, so you have your spirit manga who has sailed the skies of Venus. So what do you think about it? See, I thought it was funny, and I love the fact that I stumped you because you always have an answer. You're like, I don't know what to say yet. What's going on, guys?
Well, I think it's really because, like, I think it was 1962 was the first time an American spacecraft, made it to, the Venus atmosphere. And that's where they discovered that, like, the temperatures were actually cooler in the clouds as opposed to, like, extremely hot on the surface. And so, like, we've done projects there. We have experience on this very hellish atmosphere. And I hear, like, Venus is described as very hellish. And I'm like, when are we going? When are we going? Like, this is more
it's got to be better than 2020 in America.
There's been like 40 I think it's 40 spacecrafts that have, been to Venus where, many have been like squashed like tin cans. and nothing is impossible. And so like we've practiced, let's go. It's 2020.
I mean, obviously we're all excited about this, and it's so now again. There's already so many missions, and this keeps coming up. And I know we've already done a show about it, and there's a lot to this. But it's life in the solar system. The more that we look out there, if we look at Mercury on its poles has what looks like ice, and no matter where we look, it seems like we have the possibility of life either in ways that we know it, and the best part in ways that we don't know it. So. Is this kind of become the point of space now? Because we want to go to Europa, we want to go to Enceladus, we want to go to Mars, we want to go to Venus, we want to go to all these places. Is this what space should be for us now, right beside of human exploration? What do you all think? Miriam?
Yeah, I can go. I think firstly, to answer your question about what comes next, it's an interesting time when this announcement was made because in the planetary science community, it's the time of the planetary decadal survey. So what this means is planetary scientists and different constituents and stakeholders that are involved in exploration on the planetary science side are putting in their concepts for missions and studies and trying to help NASA define what its planetary science priorities should be for the next 10 years. So because of the timing of this announcement, it will definitely have a big impact on perhaps the recommendations and decisions that are made in the decadal survey and NASA's future missions moving forward. And I think we also saw the thing from Jim Burdenstein talking about, we need to prioritize Venus now. In terms of your question about the search for life versus human space exploration, I think, obviously, I believe that humanity should be multiplanetary. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I believe that we need to keep on pushing the limits of exploration. But at the same time, personally, I'm also very motivated by the search for life. And I think as a species, like suppose we find, it's one of those enduring civilization sort of questions that we've had for millennia, like, are we the only ones? And if we actually find life out there, it really puts perspective on our own existence and sort of the way the galaxy has evolved. And it just brings unlimited possibilities because right now we might be talking about microbial life, but there might be another civilization out there that has advanced to another level of intelligence. Suppose we actually find extraterrestrial intelligence. So it's a very exciting thing. And I think it motivates a lot of research as well. So I think for me, like it's kind of equal in priority.
Okay, so let's go beyond microbial life. So Venus, microbial, Mars, microbial. But when we look at Europa, Enceladus, and Titan, we might see something that's the next level. Yeah. We might see something that's swimming. We might see something that has a version of sentience, right? It might be if anyone here has ever seen it before, one of my all-time favorite movies, and I love it, is Europa Report. Mm. And if you haven't seen it, just real quick, here's a whole thing for you. And I'm sorry for the spoiler, but it's talking about life. It's talking about being on a moon of another planet, and something is caught on camera at the end, and it's basically a version of something like a squid or an octopus. And that is something, if you've ever been around that type of life, that life is wildly brilliant. Sea life is where we came from. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you say. If you're listening to this right now, there's a whole fossil record. You came from a lot of part of you, 65% of you shares the same genes as a banana. Congratulations. You're a lot banana. And that's a part of what this is. So much of what you share is part of life here. So think about that. Like, is this one, are we about to see the beginnings of seeing microbial life elsewhere? And then possibly more advanced life that's not exactly something that can communicate with us. And how amazing would that be if we would find that? So thoughts, anyone on that one first? I love that, like the nods and the smiles. And that's what makes me happy. I'm sorry. I'm that guy that's just like, Russ, go for it.
Well, first of all, I think you did spoil Europa Report for people, but they have had many years to watch that movie. So, and even with knowing the end, it's worth watching. It's a great mockumentary. I mean, it's fantastic. I think that thinking about. I was thinking about this today. I was talking about it actually today. I was playing a gig at a winery, and I was talking with a gentleman there he found out I worked for SLU, and he had heard of SLU, and so we started talking space stuff, And it's just, if we're able to find even microbial life, like extremophile life on another planet in our solar system, it really blows the doors open for possibilities of life in the rest of the universe, which is such an exciting possibility, right? I mean, yes, there's so much we need to figure out about this particular finding on Venus. This was a telescopic discovery. So, this was, I think, 2 telescopes were involved in it. The James Clark Maxwell telescope and the ALMA telescope were both involved. So these are both these are telescopic discoveries. And so, getting a mission there and as was mentioned, it's the Decadal Survey for the planetary science. So this is a good time to start looking at it, but things do take a long time. So it's going to take a long time before we get there and are able to actually check that. So more telescopic surveys certainly to look at these findings deeper would be fantastic.
Russ, I mean, is there any way we could possibly see like pictures of Venus? Is there any online platform that there's telescopes that are out there where you could take pictures of them and possibly share them with people? I mean, if you were to slew a telescope and then digitally take a picture, is there a possibility we could see something like that?
I don't know. Let me research that and see if there's a company out there that offers that possibility. Yeah.
Get out of here! Really? Can you tell us where we can find that, sir?
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about working for SLU. Is it really puts, Joe is putting telescopes, and I've been watching the feeds on the bottom, like putting telescopes in front of kids in New York City, which is absolutely awesome. The thing about SLU is it allows you to have access to these telescopes, and you can do it from your phone. I know Joe mentioned like no phones, and I get that, but you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your computer.
Joe's a fan too. Joe's a fan. Joe, are you a fan? I mean, if you want to tell the world that you can't, like, you're not really a big fan of the fact that people can use their phones to use a telescope, do you want to say anything to everybody? You're focused right now. Let us everybody.
I have 2 things to say. I don't mind telephones. I just mind telephones when people are not paying attention to the beauty that's above them.
I was just teasing you, Joe. I was totally joking.
Here's the thing, by the way. Joe was one of the first people to ever take a telephone and attach it to a telescope and show people the night sky. And he did it in New York City in Times Square. He did it on where else did you do it, Joe? On a giant craft, right?
Yeah,
there's a giant craft that you just go on and do stuff.
I do it all the time. But listen, I do have to say, and I have to put the kudos where they go. When I first started Jupiter Joe Sidewalk Astronomy back in 2012, 2011 with my daughters, there was one thing that really inspired me. That's outside of the telescope that I had. It was actually SLU. I was a big fan of SLU. I was one of the first adopters of SLU. And SLU used to put out a bunch of little activity cards. So it was like little mission packs with, it was like I think it was like 5 or 10 cards inside that had planets and everything. And they had one, it was like 150-minute card that you can get. And I think that was their biggest one. It came with like an activity book. Toys R Us in Times Square had them on sale for $1. They were on liquidation, and I ended up spending $200 at different Toys R Us.
Wait 1 second. Hold on a second, real quick. Rachel is texting. Rachel, who are you texting? We see you. That's right. I muted you. Go ahead.
So, so I ended up buying 200 of these things to actually hand them out to kids. And as kids would actually ask questions at the different events that I was having, they got a SLU card. If they asked more than 5 questions, they ended up getting the big SLU pack. So I hope that here today, some of those kids are still utilizing SLU, and I hope that some of them have become, astrophysicists, or at least are just interested in astronomy and are still utilizing the services. So I bow my head to SLU, and again, I used it all the time.
Love it. Russ, going to go back to you, and then I'm going to go to Rachel just to give her some love because I was playing around with her.
Nice. Well, I mean,
hold on. Wait,
Joe,
Rachel's yelling at me. Rachel, go ahead.
Do you want to know what I was looking at?
Go ahead.
These pictures.
That's even better. She was looking at pictures of Venus, and I love it. We love you. We love you, Rach. Russ, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, well, Jupiter, Joe, your experience with SLU predates mine, so that's pretty cool. And we're still, plugging away, trying to get people looking at space, interested in space, and it certainly is a combination, right? It's like, yes, it's great to look through these wonderful telescopes that SLU offers, but also getting outside. I mean, people can go outside; you can actually just see Venus in the night sky, which is really cool, and Jupiter and Saturn and Mars right now. So it's a great time of the year to be just walking outside and taking a look around. So,
and Russ, I know that you have some pictures to show us. So while we talk to Rach about this, and then go to Miriam, we'll let you go ahead and share your screen so we can see some pictures.
Yeah,
Rach, go ahead.
What do you want from me?
I mean,
You're gonna call me out for looking at my very spicy Venus picture.
do you have? Wait, what kind of spicy Venus pictures? Are they Sailor Venus? Are they Venus? Because I mean, let's talk about this too. I mean, a lot of people look at the pictures of Venus that they have seen before elsewhere, but JAXA has the best pictures of Venus you've ever seen. They're mind blowing, and they don't pop up enough because they were the last ones that went and took unreal pictures. They are gorgeous. So, which ones were you looking at, Rach?
Not those, apparently. That sounds way better than the Venus pictures I was looking at.
Wow. By the way, I love how Rachel is just, there's the Rachel I know virtually and the Rachel I met an hour, like 45 minutes ago. And it's the best version ever.
Our first time meeting. I'm blushing about Venus.
She's like, oh my God, it's Venus.
Can't help it.
So we'll give her a minute. Miriam, we'll go to you while Russ is going to share his screen with the pictures that we have he has on SLU. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I want to see the spicy Venus picture that Rachel is talking about.
Everyone wants to know,
And the
Rach,
one-
what kind of spicy pictures do you have? You are muted.
Conversation.
One second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like I've distracted this entire conversation with the promise of spicy Venus pictures, and which I can provide.
Go.
We're going to show first. We're going to show pictures from Russ.
And-
These are kind of pictures that you can get on SLU of Venus. And look at this though. We're talking about you can be on SLU and you can schedule a mission to get pictures of Venus. And this is what they look like. I've never seen through a telescope something that looks this good. I mean, with my own eye, as these pictures look, man, it's incredible what you can do with SLU. So Russ, I'll let you go.
Yeah, well, and Joe mentioned it earlier, I think the real power here is that you can see the phases of Venus. So, here it is in a gibbous phase, which is, I mean, Venus's phases are really important for our, Galileo putting us not at the center of our solar system. Realizing that Venus has these phases helped Galileo realize that we had a heliocentric solar system. But I think that's the real power, right? Is that a student, and that's what I love about this, is that a student, or I mean, I say student because I'm the education guy, but any person can come on here and take a look at Venus, and they can look at it over a course of a few days. They can see the phases actually change. They can collect those pictures, and then they can put them all together. It's a pretty cool thing. I'm not sure if this is the spicy picture of Venus that we were hoping for, but
I want to show in a second. Sorry about that.
I know that was great. No, that's all right. Let's go to the spicy pictures.
Let's go to the spicy pictures. So this is one of the pictures that JAXA put out a couple years ago. The pictures they took are unbelievable. So if it was spicy before, Rachel's going to have to take 10 minutes to herself. Because let's be honest, Venus is looking spicy. And
I hope that can be fun.
let's really back this up for a moment, though. I mean, this is a picture that you can take, and that's what's amazing about it.
Well, it's kind of cool. And the picture you showed, it looks like we're kind of at the same phase, which is really it's fun, right? Like taking these. Here's a picture that you can take, just a normal, regular person here on the planet, and then there's JAXA out there taking spicy pictures, but then you can kind of put them together and you can see here's what you're seeing and here's what it looks like, and that's a really powerful thing, I think.
And it's so awesome. I mean, and also the fun thing about this is that so now everyone's talking about going to Venus. Is there anyone here that's a big fan of Rocket Lab? Because I am. Anyone? Okay, so Joe. So Joe and Sunny, and we're going to go to you next. They have already been talking about going to Venus. And so if you don't know about that, one, if you don't know who Rocket Lab is, you don't know who Beck is, if you don't know that whole team, they are incredible. I've actually got an interview that I've had for like a year now. I might even be able to find it and show it to people. It'd be the first time anyone's ever seen it. They're an amazing company. They're doing incredible stuff down in New Zealand. And they are sort of like adjacent to SpaceX, but with some other things. And so we have Travis here from SpaceX, who we always like to blame for the fact that he's ruining the night sky. And he's one of my favorite friends. And he's always here. And there's definitely going to be some jokes, and he loves this. But Joe, let's talk about this. You obviously know about Rocket Lab. They want to go. Tell us about this mission, what you know about it, or at least your excitement for it.
Yeah, I mean, at least my excitement for it, and this goes back to our mutual friend Sarah. When Sarah was actually going to go visit them when she was down in in the Southern Southern Hemisphere Star Party. I'm trying to remember the actual name of it, but yeah, I mean, talking about all of these companies, especially like the excitement that Starlab has in advancing rocketry and getting people to realize that they can do this so fast, just like Sunny was talking about earlier in the research that I was doing on Sunny as well. We can make this cheaper, we can make this faster, and that's one of the things that's exciting me about missions like this and companies like this that are like, no, we don't have to do this the traditional way that's going to take us years on end to move forward. We're going to build ourselves based on what other companies have accomplished and turn that around in a faster prototyping stage, and we can start presenting things that we can start moving faster. So yeah, definitely excited about all their missions. But just as I'm excited about all the other companies that are either doing rocketry or even things like Virgin Galactic, where we're doing lower Earth tourism. All of those things keep on adding to the space industry and keep on adding to the fact that we're going to be able to do this a lot faster, a lot better, and a lot cheaper. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of these.
We're right there because of people like Sunny and Sunny. I know you have to be excited about this. So let's hear it, man. Like the CEO of a rocket company. Let's know what's going on with you.
Yeah, so one of the exciting things about the Rocket Labs is they have kept their rockets really simple in design, and they have got two very strong team. One is on the propulsion side, and second is on the astrodynamic side. So they have used the electric based propulsion system, where they are increasing pressure of the engines using the batteries. And because of that, they have further simplified the design of the whole propulsion system, and they have removed all the complexity, and that is reducing the cost of the whole rocket. And they have the capability of, I guess, launching 72 rockets per year. So that brings down the total mission cost and the launch cost of the rockets. And another thing is they are mainly focusing on the kick stage, which is the third stage of a rocket, and which is responsible to take the spacecraft or to take the payload to any of the planet. So they are mainly focusing on that, and the way they have designed things and the materials that they have used are really light in weight. So I guess the engineering team is really good, and in the less amount of time they have come up with a state of art technologies that is making the space for everyone, and that is making space not only economical but more efficient as well. I guess they have got the highest orbital accuracy till date, with compared to the SpaceX and the other companies. Like SpaceX have the complete different vision and mission than with comparison to Rocket Labs. But then if it comes to rockets, I guess Rocket Labs are going to be one of the key players in the small satellite market space.
Well, I love that. Like Sunny, you're so quick to be like the boss. And the funny thing I love about this, by the way, is just one, I have to give it like huge credit to Sunny. Sunny and I have been friends for years, and we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff. And through the last 6 months, Sunny has really truly become the CEO, the well-spoken guy that's got like I'm going to tell you about some stuff, and I want to get to the point. And it's so awesome to see the way you've grown, man. I'm so proud to know you. You're one of my favorite friends, and I'm glad that you're here. So we just keep talking about Venus, and we talked about Rocket Lab. Let's talk about who here is excited about what's going on right now. We are a month away, and I know Rachel and other people here have probably been a part of them with NASA socials. We're going to have the first operational mission to the ISS. There's this guy called Elon Musk. I've never had a very awkward phone call with him before. A couple weeks ago, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, he was eating while he talked to me. But anyway, so we have a lot going on right now, right? So who is excited about where we're at? Like a company a decade ago, everybody laughed at. And now everyone's behind them, ULA, Virgin Galactic's doing so many things. How incredible is this? Is that it's all coming to fruition. There's these huge things going on. Is there anyone in particular that's like super excited about the fact that if we keep on the path we're on, in a decade, we can fly to the edge of space at minimum?
We're raising hands still?
Rach Ghost is like, yes.
I mean, yes. I am so blessed to be alive during this timeline where, I mean, I love seeing competition between companies because I think competition really does raise the bar for let's keep pushing higher and higher and higher. And we have companies like SpaceX that were like, bet, absolutely bet. And for, you know, we don't all get to talk to, you know, Elon Musk. I have no idea who he is on the phone, but I am sure that if we knew someone that
it would be weird, right? If somebody had to just talk to them on their phone while the world watched them sitting there being super uncomfortable, right? So
I don't know anyone like that, but if I did, like, amazing. Like you just. And the fact that these people in these positions, they are so passionate and they love what they do and they are just open. They want to talk about it. And just, I feel like that's one of the best things about communication, especially in like the space world where everyone is so open. Like, look at all of us here today. We are talking about space happening now and the past and the future because that's what we love. And yes, I'm just
word.
So happy. Word.
So let's go to you next, Miriam.
Yeah, I think I'm also very excited, much like everyone else here. It's an interesting time because in May, when they did the demonstration launch, SpaceX, it was the first time since 2011 that we had actually sent astronauts to the ISS from American soil. And it's a really big deal. It's the first time that a private company has done something like that. And now with the official crewed mission, for me, it's like, you know, with the reusability and these commercial companies getting into this, it's like a new private space race. And we are basically increasing capability to provide wider access to space. Because yes, a certain number of seats will be reserved for the astronauts and the space programs, but with these commercial companies, they can form partnerships to allow citizen scientists to go and do research. And as you alluded to, in suborbital space at the very least, right? I mean, going to the ISS is still very, very expensive. I imagine a seat will cost like upwards of $50 million, but you know, suborbital flights are also on the horizon. And that also maybe constitutes as space tourism. So we're getting there. It's interesting times.
I mean, man, it really is such a beautiful time. Russ, I mean, how do you feel about it, man? With all the things that you all are doing, this has to push more and more people to what's going on with SLU. I mean, you all have, I mean, the whole idea is what? It's space for everyone. It's astronomy for everyone. And what you all do, I mean, it's been a big year for you. I know I've talked to you. I've talked to Mike, a bit with Paul. I mean, what you guys are doing are great. And you're connecting people too. And that's the thing is that here's the 3-foot level. Here's the 10,000-foot level. And you have that ability to connect people with that. What does that mean to you? I mean, you're the new director of education. They're taking things more seriously. That's got to be a big deal to you, right?
Well, it's huge. I mean, my life, you know, prior to being the director of education, I've been in outdoor education and a teacher, and in the classroom. And so my life has been dedicated to getting people excited about astronomy, about environmental science, planetary science. So my work with SLU is this wonderful moment where I get to bring, you know, really experiential astronomy education to students. And that's students who are elementary, middle, high school. We even have college kids who are using it. And we have a lot of adult learners who are using it too. So it means everything. Sure. And I think, you know, space is this unifying element. People all over the world get excited when we think about space and when we think about the questions that we were talking about earlier. Are we alone in this universe? Like, are we the ones who are we the only organisms that are populating this universe? I mean, I think that's this huge fundamental question And it's exciting to get an opportunity to be a part of as Rachel mentioned, to be part of this timeline. I love that phrase. Like, I'm so glad to be part of this timeline. Because sometimes I don't always feel that way. I'm like, this timeline seems messed up sometimes. But anyway,
Not
so
2020, but
Well, I mean,
but it
here's
is.
the big
It's
thing
so
too.
exciting. Like people get so excited about space, and it is this hopeful. It's this hopeful place, and I love it. I love it because the students I work with are excited about life, and they're excited about all the cool stuff that's happening. They're excited about new space. These, private companies that are launching rockets and innovating in rocketry. So it's amazing. It's amazing, and so fills me up for certainly.
Well, thank you. That was definitely not weird. Joe, hit us, man. I mean, I know you got some stuff to say, but all the awesome stuff you do. I know this is a great time for you. Joe, you are muted. You've muted yourself, sir.
Sorry.
No worries.
about
I
that.
appreciate the fact you did it.
So yeah, like I was saying, at least from the outreach perspective, there are so many people that I deal with, especially the younger children, and even like middle schoolers who don't really have an idea of what they want to do in the future. And a lot of times, one of my biggest pushes to the kids is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of them don't want to be, an astronaut, and that's fine and dandy. But then I start explaining to them, well, you do realize that every position that you could possibly think of out there, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a doctor, a fireman, a police officer, whatever you want to be, I was like, the space industry has that job in some capacity. And people will come back to me like, oh, what about a farmer? Yeah, they have farmers. We need to colonize. And in order to colonize, we need to have farmers. We need to know how to, we have to have botanists. Go watch The Martian. You'll learn why. You get to handle your own poop.
Right.
So, I mean, just cool things like that you can start innovating, like inspiring people. So when they see these new missions that are being launched to the International Space Station, and we have, Crew Dragon about to launch, and we're able to see not just new astronauts going to the International Space Station, but this is the first female astronaut being launched on a new spacecraft on its maiden voyage. These are inspiring things to especially young women, but as well to just everyone in general, because it just shows everyone has that opportunity now to do something that in the past we wouldn't have thought they would have been able to do. So yeah, definitely, and me with like my 3D printing of models and stuff like that. I love printing out these models and letting kids get a hold on it. And they get so much more inspired because then they start looking and like, what's this? What does this do? What's that over there? And then you start giving them the resources that they can look up and actually find what these people are doing on Crew Dragon or what they're doing on the International Space Station. And those questions that start rolling in, that's what opens them up to all these other, platforms, whether they're going to SLU to do research on looking at something through a telescope, or whether they're just watching NASA TV and watching an EVA or something of that nature. Something is out there for everyone's interest, and that's the beauty of it. Like, we are literally touching on every aspect of culture and society.
Well, John, I love this. As we prepare for the man, the myth, the legend, Russ is going to play some music for us here in just a bit. But I want to talk to everyone here about, if this is going to be a quick thing, just a minute each of what you're excited about the most with. We have so much going on. James Webb Space Telescope's on the way. We have operational missions. We have Virgin Galactic coming up. We have all these things. So, Miriam, I'm going to start with you first. What are you most excited about? Is it the Perseverance, because astrobiology? Is it that? What is your favorite thing going on right now?
Yeah, I think for me, Perseverance, you mentioned it. I want to see if we find microbial life on Mars. And then also I'm very, very interested in Ocean World. So the Europa Clipper mission, which is an orbiter mission going to Europa. And then I know that they have proposed concepts for a lander mission. So I've been reading up those research papers and trying to figure out what they're proposing for the lander. It's very exciting to me because, as you mentioned, we don't know what kind of life, if there is life, could potentially exist under those kilometers of ocean crust and the icy crust that is over the ocean. So it's very exciting to me.
Fantabulous. Next, Joe, we're going to go to you. What are you most excited about? James Webb Space Telescope.
Listen,
or is it W first?
No, actually, so first off, I do have to say it was definitely perseverance, and I was really upset that Miriam took my answer. Because if you see, I have one back here.
Sorry, Joe.
But yeah, no, definitely James Webb. James Webb has been out in the, it's been delayed so long, and it's a mission that.
But when?
Pardon?
I said, but when? It's those two words.
Exactly.
It's like, I get it. I understand how the billions that have been spent, but once it's out there, oh my God.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's really it. Like, I have lots of friends that are actually working on the mission. People that have, been giving me tidbits of information here and there. And every year it was just like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, if you know me, I'm always creating things for different missions. And for James Webb, I actually had a pair of sneakers that I was designing. Just because I like to have one article of clothing for every mission that I create. And I bought a pair of sneakers back, I think it was like 4 years ago, and they're still sitting there. I'm just waiting to debut them. So let's get this mission kicked off, and I want to see what we can do from there.
Perfect. So next we're going to go to, actually, let's go to, Russ, we're going to go to you first, just so you can give a quick answer, and then we're going to come back to you after two people, so you can sing us a tasty groove.
All right. I'll be really quick. The mission that I am most excited about right now is the Lucy mission, which this is a mission to the Trojan asteroid, which are the asteroids that are in front of and trailing Jupiter's orbit. So that's the mission I'm super excited about. But that's because I'm just an asteroid nut.
Perfect. So we go from you to Rach Ghost. Hit us.
Oh, Joe, that mention of James Webb just like wanted a little tear in my eye. Like, you think those photos are spicy now? Just wait till we get that thing up there. I'm so excited.
Here's what I love. Rachel has no desire for anything human to come near her. But dear God, if you were to say, like, here's a picture from Hubble, she'd be like, Hubble, I'm going to go to space and touch you.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't want to be involved with anyone. I really want those space pictures really bad.
Really, truly bad. The spicy space pictures are now the thing. Sonny,
let's go.
Sonny, where are you, sir?
To be honest, every space mission is exciting for me, but I'm looking forward for the Perseverance landing, because that is going to be something very much fascinating, and it's a very big suspense out there. Just looking forward for the 7 minutes of.
I love it. Okay, everyone. So if you were on the panel and if you need to go grab a drink, like I'm going to go do, Russ is going to play us a song. And by the way, I love Russ that he said earlier. It's like, well, I mean, this is the worst thing that anyone could ever tell a musician, because I told him to shut the fuck up because it was that good. He wrote the song. He can sing the song. His teeth glow so brightly that I can actually turn my lights down and still be well lit. That's how amazing he is. So Russ is going to sing us the first two songs tonight, and then
I'm blushing. Ron, you're making me blush here. This is ridiculous.
I love you, brother. Sing the song, and seriously, this song is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I can't wait to hear the whole thing. So Russ, please take it away, sir.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. So this is a song. I don't have a song that's about Venus, unfortunately, but this one's called "Dead All Day," and it is a love song. So maybe that goes along well with with Venus for tonight. I'm dead all day till you come to me. You give me love and you set me free. I'm dead all day until I come alive in your arms. I'm dead all day until I come to you. You give me love and you pull me through. I'm dead all day until I come alive. Well, I've been dead all day, wasting my time away, staring up at the skies, just waiting to come to life. I'm dead all day till you come to me. You give me love and you set me free. I'm dead all day until I come alive in your arms. I'm dead all day until I come to you. You give me love and you pull me through. I'm dead all day until I come alive. Like a smoke jumper coming for you. Even when it's hard to do. Feel the heat but I won't hide. I need it to feel alive. I'm dead all day till you come to me. You give me love and you set me free. I'm dead all day until I come alive in your arms. I'm dead all day until I come to you. Give me love and you pull me through. I'm dead all day until I come alive. I'm dead all day till you come to me. Give me love and you set me free. I'm dead all day until I come alive in your arms. I'm dead all day until I come to you. You give me love and you pull me through. I'm dead all day until I come alive.
Whatever, Russ. Whatever. No one's emotional here right now. I mean, everyone. Seriously, like,
Joking, man.
so Joe grabbed. Like that was perfect, man. It's such a great song, man. I mean, so Russ, let's talk about this for a minute before you go back into the like everything else. This is your music. You write this. You write the music. You play this stuff. This is your
my song. Yeah,
that sounds like all right. So a 20-year DJ. I heard it for about 15 seconds. Was like, well, that's awesome. Like it's something I would play at work at the end of the night, not like the beginning of the night, the end of the night. But yes.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I mean, I love hearing that. Yeah, I mean, it's this is how I think, and you guys on the panel can talk about this too. But I think that so many of our scientists have this creative side, and I mean, this is just my creative outlet. And thank you for letting me share it tonight. It really means a lot.
Thank you, everybody. Just want to welcome everybody out tonight as I play great music and just let everybody know. No, seriously, it's beautiful. So actually, let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Everyone here has an artistic side. Not Rachel. There's nothing in Rachel that makes her decide to do things and stand out from the crowd, but there's got to be something. So what I want to start with is let's talk about an inspiration for everyone. I'll finish with me last about the fact that it was something that was artistic that inspired me, but Miriam, what happened for you that made you love space so much that you wanted to make it your life?
Yeah, it's sort of an easy one for me. My dad really inspired me, and I really got very interested in science fiction growing up. So I was reading all these science fiction books from the classics like Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke and others. I also read Ray Bradbury, bunch of science fiction, and then also watching science fiction. And I became a big Star Trek fan. That was also thanks to my dad. So yeah, I've watched pretty much every series out there, and just the concept of that multi-planetary society and sort of the principles that they uphold, right, about exploration. And it's like it's led by these it's just so futuristic, but also very, very inspiring. And I really felt like I wanted to be a part of driving that forward and be a part of the space industry since like forever. And that's why I did engineering back in the day. Actually, my undergrad is engineering and I was in the US, but I ended up in the oil and gas industry first. And I found space recently because it never left me. And now it's in a commercial capacity, but it's very exciting because we're in the new space era, as you alluded to. So I think a lot of people spoke about this already on the panel, but space is literally for everyone. So whatever skills or talents you have, like if space inspires you, don't think that you cannot be a part of this industry.
I love that. And I love the fact that you mentioned that. I'm sure everyone here is going to say that. So if you look around, no one here is the same. I don't know. No one. We're still like confused about what I am, and we have been for 40 years. I am you. Everyone's like, oh, you're this. Maybe, but I mean, Joe. I mean, where you grew up, the things you've done. Let's talk about this. What inspired you to do something? And you were ahead of the curve for a lot of this. Science communication, doing one sidewalk astronomy, doing it on. Of all things in the world, being in New York City and being like, I'm gonna just grab the train and go do science and show people stuff. I mean, this is an incredible story. So please tell us about this and how you were inspired by this. And you've inspired a lot of people that you may not even know about.
Well, I you know what? I hope I have inspired people. But yeah, just touching on what you were speaking about. I mean, very early on, just like everyone else that you've heard, 9 years old, interested in space, went to a planetarium. It was great. But for me, really, the grasp of it all was actually trying to get a girlfriend. I actually liked the girl and tried showing her Halley's Comet, and I stopped traffic and had people pouring out of cars looking at Halley's Comet. Little did I find out years later, it wasn't Halley's Comet. I was looking at the Pleiades.
Is it Halley's Comet or is it Halley's Comet, Joe? Comet. Have you not watched Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where he tells you the right way to say it, Joe? I thought you had.
But yeah,
as long as you don't say manned space flight, we're good.
Oh yeah, but to be quite honest, that first moment of having people come out and really get inspired by something that I'm trying to show them. That was the driver for me. And for years, I would just go outside with binoculars and, let people look at the moon, because that's all I could really show them at the time, until I got older and I ended up getting a telescope. And one of the first people that I showed an object through the telescope was a young 8-year-old girl who looked at Saturn, and her eyes were like this big. And she started to describe what she was looking at. And she looked at the telescope trying to find the slot because she thought it was more like a viewfinder. And I had to explain to her, no, that's what you're actually seeing. So based off of that, and because we're talking about art and we're talking about, culture in general, in relation to astronomy, one of the things that I started was Side Chalk Astronomy. So now as we have kids and even adults looking through our telescopes, we'll start having them draw what they've seen. And when you start getting people drawing next to each other, they start looking at other people's drawings and they're like, oh, wait, I didn't see that. And then it makes them go back to the telescope and start refining their drawings. So we would have little contests like that all the time. And at the Intrepid, one of the things that the director of education there had told me was one of the most interactive events that they had when I was doing that just underneath the Concorde. And near at that time, they had the Star Trek exhibit there. And that's what people were gravitating to rather than going inside to see the Star Trek exhibit. And we had people drawing different planets that existed in their minds. So yeah, all those types of things inspire people really. But just like you were saying before, even doing something like subway astronomy, which I do. So yeah, I can't have a telescope inside the train car, but we use the train car to actually educate people. So like in New York, our train cars, I know that between the poles that are either end, it's 35 feet. And then I have models of the Earth and the Moon that are actually 35 feet apart at that scale. And that's what I kind of use to show people. And they start really getting, involved in it. So yeah, anything that we can do to make things, more appealing to people and make them start thinking for themselves, and using everything around them to do that, I'm all for it.
I love that these answers are going to continue into my next question. And I love this too, because you mentioned imagination. And Carl Sagan once said, imagination will carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. And I love that. I love Carl for saying things just like that. So Russ, we're going to go to you. I mean, you've been an educator for nearly 20 years now, you wrinkleless, amazing person. So tell us about like what got you into that and teaching kids and all the things that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I got into teaching through summer camp. So I was a camp counselor, and I just loved.
Ooh, is there anything else you want to admit? I mean, you want to take some time and say that I'm kidding.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
an uncomfortable laugh.
let
I'm
me
sorry.
let me no, I mean, I loved working with kids. I loved watching them get excited about. I always tried to bring. I studied geology in school, and I loved rocks and stuff, and that's something you can find everywhere. And so kids get into that stuff. They love stuff they can pick up. And Joe's talking about this too. Like he built an Earth Moon scale model. People get into stuff they can touch, and so you know the being a camp counselor got me excited about teaching, and then I really got excited about astronomy in '96 or '97, maybe with Hale Bopp. I guess it was 96, 97. So that's really, the comet got me really excited about astronomy and sort of led me on my path to learning more about astronomy. I mean, I was always into rocks and earth science and environmental science, but seeing that comet really got me excited about astronomy. And you know, I always try to make my lessons with kids experiential. I think that the more that they can get active with whatever it is material that they're studying, they're going to, one, get more excited about it, and two, they'll have better retention at the end of the day about stuff that they've learned, and maybe apply it in a more creative way down the line. So
that's awesome. And I'm also glad that you did not drink the Kool-Aid. We're glad you're still here, because so many did. Does anyone get that here? I mean, well, Joe's probably old enough to remember that.
Oh,
Everyone else,
no,
okay. We're gonna be
I did
quiet
not drink any.
So we're just going to be quiet on
We're
that.
not going to go down the cult route now. Is that
We're
what
not gonna
we're
do that.
hearing? Yes, not going to. Okay, not starting
We're
one,
far
not
away.
going down one. Neowise didn't inspire any cults, which was great. So that was awesome.
As long as you're far away from Waco. Rachel, we're going to go to you. Let us know about like what inspired you for, I mean, obviously you have a lot of passions about a lot of things, but what made you want to focus on this? You're someone that's passionate about a lot of things. Why space for you?
It's actually it's kind of like a sad story. I'm actually coming up on my 1 year of being involved in the space community. It was when I was accepted to my first NASA social. It was a Northrop Grumman Cygnus space or cargo launch. And I applied on a whim. So the story is I was dating a boy who was very much into space, and I was raised on sci-fi. That was the extent of my very deep love for like dark sci-fi. I was raised by Alien. I have all the movies. I love Geiger and sci-fi art. I never really pursued the actual like knowing about space and the science behind it. And so I started dating this boy that was very much into it. And so I remember he was really into Europa. And I remember I spent a night reading about Europa and trying to learn about this so we could talk about it. Eventually, he ended up cheating on me, and so we broke up. And one day I was on LinkedIn and I saw this thing called a NASA social. And I was just like, you know what? I can do that. I can do that. There was no reason why, I shouldn't pursue that for my, just for myself. And I applied on a whim with my fashion following before Space Rachel. And I was accepted. And that really, I mean, again, this has been a year of me really jumping into my love for like space and of course sci-fi too. I hate that it had to be like it led to me that way, but it made me think if I can inspire, other women and young girls to, if they're ever curious about space or anything, I want to be the first one to help them and not someone else like break their heart to get them to jump onto that path.
Don't hide your smile, just do it.
And I have had a blast. I mean,
that's what we're here for.
I'm
Show your love.
Company. You are all very brilliant and bright, and you've been doing this much longer than I have. And mine's definitely more of like a very deep passion project. And I'm glad that this is like a new path for me. So I guess that's my story. I'm very happy to be here.
I love it. And Sunny, we're gonna go to you next. Tell us about that, man. So here's something that a lot of people may not know if you're new to this, and I know that this show goes out to a lot of new people, and that's one of the reasons that I love what we do with this and what we've created with this is that India is in love with space. It's been a thing for a very long time, and you are a young man that's like you really ran with this, and I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about what and why, and how it happened for you? And then also to take to that level of just, okay, I love this. I want to do this. I want to study it. And then I want to make a business out of it. You have a team of people around you you're so well known and you bring a lot of things to light, and you're a wonderful person, just like everyone else. But I really love to hear this story. And don't finish in 30 seconds. I want the real truth, man.
Sure. Okay. So, I found my passion for space at a very young age of 10 years, and like I was in school, and on the very next day I made a space shuttle, out of a waste bottle. It was a non-working model. So I went to my school, I showed it to my teacher, but she was not happy with the design. So I promised her that one day I'll make a rocket that can fly and that can even take something to space. At that time, I didn't know the consequences or the complexity a rocket might have, So it was just, a random thought that it came in my mind, but I never, realized that that was the point I found my passion. Then I always wanted to be an aerospace engineer. Because in our country, people believe that you need to be into aerospace engineering to be a part of space industry, but that is not fact, right? So I wanted to be a part of aerospace industry. So, it became my dream to be an aerospace engineer. But then I completely messed up with my studies. I experienced my first academic failure in 9th grade. In 10th, I got just 60% of my score. And then in 11th grade also, I failed. So it was not enough for me to get into any good university with aerospace. So one thought that came in my mind was that there are so many students who want to discover space, who want to learn about rockets, who want to learn about satellites. Why their dreams should be dependent on the grades or the universities, right? So that is how I came up with the idea of STAR, and I started learning rocket science, and I started learning about satellites from internet, from various magazines and books. And that is how I acquired knowledge, and I tried to build them on my own. So initially, I used to make rockets at my place itself, and I used to blow down, a couple of rockets. I even blow down. But then that is how we started. Then there, one good thing about space is that it brings nations together. So I got a lot of support from the American space community as well, and from the people like you who always keeps on motivating and inspiring. So, like one of the incidents, yeah. So in one of the incidents I would like to share is I went to one of the ISRO center to present our research work, and there were students from the elite institutions, and we were the only students from the local college. And we were really scared of presenting things. I get nervous while presenting. So what happened? The presentation went well, and everything was good. In the end, there was an announcement. The best paper presentation awards goes to people from Surat. We didn't have the laboratory. We didn't have any working space. We used to work in garden and parks. So sitting there, we were creating technologies, and that is how we got to know that space is not limited to engineers, scientists, big laboratories, or elite institutions. It's open for everyone. If you have courage of pursuing your passion, if you have courage of experimenting things and trying out things on your own, so that is how you can go. And two more sources of inspiration for me. One of them is my team, because they work 24/7. They give their best every time. And whenever we fail, they take all the failure burden on their shoulders, which is one of the very, good quality of my team. And another source of inspiration is Ron, you, because I always wanted to be a show host, but I was very much scared, and that I interviewed you once, and that was a turning point for me, because then last 6 months I've interviewed so many people, and now I just removed my fear of talking in front of camera. So thank you guys for all the support and inspiration that you have provided so far. Thank you so much for everything.
So I'm not gonna be emotional about that. Thank you very much, brother. I love you, Sonny. You're awesome. I'm so glad you're on here tonight. So, and for me, it's kind of a big thing of, I mean, it's out there. There's a thing that's going to inspire you. If it's not space, we get that, but there's space can do so much. You can listen to these stories. I've had so many, I mean, years and years ago, it was going and seeing Joe and knowing who Joe was. And Joe was such a big deal to me. And Joe gave me t-shirts and we hung out. We did a bunch of stuff. And then Sonny reached out to me years ago. Miriam did it maybe 6 months ago. And it's unreal what your position can be, what you can do. I mean, Rachel, it's only been a year, and that's a great thing. And I think, this is something we have to talk about next. But I'll say for me it was watching a TV show. It was a TV show with a hangover, hanging out by myself. I mean, like, I'm not going to say what that was, but it was a thing. And so I was like, this is awesome. This is the best thing I've ever seen. I cannot believe that this is all out there. I've never known about this before. You never know when that moment's going to come for you. You be prepared and be open to the fact that something might be coming for you. And it's going to be the thing that you've always looked for. You can be 40, you can be 4, you can be 400. Not 400, really, not yet anyway. But there's the fact that it's out there for you. But here's a really important question for everyone here is that it's only been maybe a second, or it's been a couple years, it's been recent, or it's been a long time. But let's talk about what we can do to bring people into this. This is the future of humanity. We saw for space, we saw for Earth, and that's a very big thing. So what do you all have? You are international, you're on different platforms, you do so many different things. So what is it that we can do to continue to move this forward, to be better science communicators? What is it that gave you that moment? And what do we need to do more of to help more people get into this? Miriam, I'm going to start with you first.
Yeah, Ron. So actually, it's only been a year for me as well in the space sector. And I've worked in different industries before, but it was kind of a moment for me when I was working at a bank actually here in Canada and thinking about what I really wanted to do and having conversations with inspiring people like, female founders of startups. And I was talking to this lady and she was actually working in blockchain now, and it hadn't been her background in the past. And I asked her, like, how did you know you were going to be so interested in this technology and pursue a career in this? And she said, like, it's something, like there's something that motivates you and it, and you just have to realize it. And we were talking, and then through that conversation, she kind of teased out of me that I was really interested in space. And for me, the challenge was, how do I actually get involved in the sector from the outside? And what I did after that was a lot of like just reaching out to people that I found doing inspiring things in the industry. Like I really hustled. I talked to a lot of people at the space agency here in Canada and industry, and found a niche for myself where I'm bringing my skills from the MBA degree that I did recently, but also it's in the space sector. So I guess what I would like to say is that, and along the journey, what really helped was volunteering. So I found amazing organizations like the Space Generation Advisory Council, Students for the Exploration and Development of Space here in Canada. It's global, but we have a chapter here in Canada. And then the World Space Week Association. And I found that through a lot of my volunteering activities, I developed my network in the space industry. And I felt like I was contributing, and it was very accessible avenue to get involved initially. And through this, what I do is I'd like to give back to the community. So if I can create opportunities for other young professionals who want to get involved in space, I encourage them to join these organizations. There are different project groups. There are different ways to help out. And you never know, like one conversation can lead to another, and there might be a potential opportunity that you didn't know existed. And sometimes it's really interesting to me now because I people reach out to me on LinkedIn and other platforms that are in the position I was a year ago. They ask me like, how did you get into space? Like you have a very like sort of interesting, diverse background, but like, how can you get into space with a business background, or what can I do to get involved in space? And one of the first things I say is like, just talk to a lot of people. Don't be shy, put yourself out there. And also there's some really cool organizations that you can just start volunteering at, because that's one of the first steps that I took when I was trying to get involved.
Amazing. So next we are going to go to Jupiter Joe. So obviously you changed some stuff. You did amazing things. What is it that we need to do next to bring more people in, to make more people scientifically literate, and just do what you're doing?
The easiest thing that we can do, Ron, and it's probably my biggest mantra, is just make it simple. Don't make it difficult. As soon as you start making things difficult and you start, explaining things to a degree that people don't understand it and they get bored with it, then they lose interest. And, very often there are simple things that you can do. Like me personally, whenever I'm working with people, I always find things that interest them, or something that based on the environment that they're in, or I find interest that they may have and show a connection between their interests and what I'm trying to explain. I've done that even with music. Like there's people that, very music literate, and I'm not music literate at all, But at that point, I started writing like a rap to explain what I do. So it's just things like that you can connect with people. And like Miriam said, a big focus on it is just outreach. It's volunteering with organizations and learning from the people that have done this in the past. So for myself, being a member of the Amateur Astronomers Association in New York, and being a member of the Solar System Ambassadors for NASA and JPL, working with these organizations and the resources that they have, and doing outreach with them, or representing them in the outreach, it opens doors for you to really engage with people that you normally wouldn't engage with. So whether it's me in Times Square, or me in the middle of the woods in the Catskills, or me, on a subway train, doing outreach, you're meeting different people, but all those people that you're meeting, you're inspiring them in some way or another.
Love it, man. Love it. We're going to go to Russ next. Russ, hit us.
A lot of importance needs to be placed on enthusiasm, and I think you can see that here. I mean, I think, Ron, you're communicating your enthusiasm for space, and I think that goes a long way to drawing people in. Additionally, I am kind of it's funny, Rachel says, "Oh, I've only been in space a year," and I kind of feel like a space baby now, because I just came out of the classroom in June and took over as director of education at SLU. So I'm kind of a space baby too. So I think helping teachers is really where I see a huge amount of benefit for actually getting kids excited about space. I think there's sort of a sweet spot where, not that everybody can't get excited about space, but when they're really young, kids are more prone, I think, to getting excited about space. And so, this summer, I did a lot of work with teachers. I offered free professional development with teachers. And as a part of that, they got a SLU account so they could come and, I just wanted them to be able to use SLU to take it back to their students, to teach them a little bit about space, and then help them take that enthusiasm for space to their students. So I really think that, and I got to give a shout out to teachers right now, because they are dealing with so much right now in the classroom, right? So there's all the normal teacher stuff. Teaching is one of the most demanding careers. And then you put on top of that all the issues with COVID and all the things that they're dealing with. So classroom teachers and informal educators, just so much respect to you all right now. And any way that we can support you, if you are a teacher and you're out there and you want some help with getting space in your classroom, contact me. I would love to help get space into your classroom, just, so that the kids can start getting, getting enthusiastic about it. So that's really my perspective, is the teachers are the boots on the ground, whether they're in the classroom or informal. Bringing them in is great. Shows like this are great because I think they get the message out to everybody too. So so good on you, Ron, for keeping this going and making it a regular feature in people's lives. I think, and you can see that from the comments, people are loving this show.
I don't know who Ron is. It's weird. I'm just going to be here. So, Sonny, we'll go to you next, and then we'll go to Rach.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. The question is that what can we do to inspire people and show them like what's out there and why it's important to be scientifically literate, why this is the best thing that can happen to you. What is it that you would say that we need to do more of? What do you do, and why should we do more of that?
Sure. So at STAR, we constantly believe that, we are propagating a message that space is for everyone. And that is what we also, aim for making. And I guess as, it's a very important role of the science communicators that, we have to, communicate space and science in such a way that students feel that it's easy, it's not so difficult. And we always have to teach them by showing them the real life examples. For example, like if we show them that the rockets works on this principle, they will understand the concept, they will remember the concept. But if we show them the live rocket launch by having a model rocket or by having a high powered rockets, I guess they will actually come to know that how things work in reality. So there is a big gap between the academics and the industries right now. So that is where the role of the science communicators comes, and where they can, actually help students to grow. Other thing is, we as a communicators not only have the responsibility of teaching them the concepts, but we have the responsibilities of helping students out there to find out their passion and purpose. Like I always say that every student have to ask themselves one question, which is I call the $1,000,000 question. Like, whenever we see Facebook, we remember Mark Zuckerberg. Whenever we see Apple, we remember Steve Jobs. And whenever we see Microsoft, we remember Bill Gates. So every student should ask themselves one question, that what they will be remembered for. And that is how they can find their passion and they can work for that. And I guess we all, whatever work we do, the one thing that should always be the same, that we have to follow our ethics and values. And the other thing is, let's work together collaboratively rather than competing with each other, and let's make this earth a better place to live. So that's it.
The man, Rachel. Hey.
I love this question because it was kind of a personal project of mine when I started getting into space communication, because I come from a fashion and thrifting background through my Instagram. And I was really nervous because I was thinking, well, what if I start talking about space, this isn't something that's going to connect with this audience? And so I had to get a little bit creative. And so I started by doing space-inspired outfits. And that was a language that this particular audience did speak. And I started doing more, and then I started dropping in little things in their Instagram stories. And so as long as I feel like we're making it simple, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to tell you a formula, or I'm going to tell you about, long, exquisite, science behind something, as long as it's something that someone can find passion and be relatable. And so by me taking this with my fashion audience, and slowly I can be a communicator to this audience, to where, and they might not ever be exposed to, the wonderful things of space. And I think that should, be inspiration to everyone. That doesn't really matter who you're talking to, as long as you're speaking on their terms. And then eventually you might meet someone, they're like, I remember when you said that one thing, or you talked about, space and related to sports or fashion, and that's the hook for them. And I think that it's one of the most beautiful things when someone can find something and start connecting those dots. And so the more that we start getting more confident in communication and relating those little bits and pieces, we're going to start reaching those people that either they never thought that they belonged, they never thought that there'd be a place for them in science or space. And so again, I'm very excited about introducing this concept to my other group. And I'm starting to get messages now from these people. They're like, I've never known anything about NASA. I've never known anything about space before until you started incorporating it into your feed. And it was very friendly and personable. And so now, like, they consider me like their space sister. And it's a lot of fun, because I'm like, oh, you just tell me once and I will tell you everything you ever want to know. But at the same time, I don't want to scare them off. And so I guess, like, to wrap up that little rant, is that I'm in marketing, I'm in business, and it's all about communication and relatability. And I feel like space, we can definitely do that. And the way that all of us are like really excited about this, we're gonna kick butt. We're gonna get some space out there, and people are gonna fall in love with it. And I'm very excited.
Well, and that's a great way to go into the next question. Like, so we've talked about what your favorite thing is about what's coming up in space, but what is the thing that you think is going to connect people the most? Is it going to be the first woman on the moon? Is it going to be, JWST, getting these new images because Hubble did so much? Is there something in particular that it might not be your thing, but what do you think is going to be the next thing that's going to really just grab people and bring them into space? Well, Sonny, got your hand up. Go ahead first, sir.
Yeah, sure. So I guess like everyone is looking forward to having the manned Mars mission. So I guess that is going to be something like the whole world will be watching at the same time, and that will be bringing everyone together. And we all know that, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of time to be there on Mars. And that will be a point where everyone will be, really inspired. Like the Apollo mission, it really, brought the revolution in the space industry. And a lot of kids, like most of the astronauts interview, when I listen to them, they come up with this realization because of the Apollo mission itself. So I guess Mars mission, first manned Mars mission is going to be the mission which will actually bring all the nations together, and which will help people to find out their passion for space. And also it will be a great proof for everyone that we are not just limited to this blue rock. We have the capability of going to the different planets, and not only going there, but even staying there and sustaining life on the other planets. So I guess this is, and there won't, I expect that there should not be any flag or the nation's flag on Mars. We should have a combined flag, because we all are humans. We all will be representing our planet there. So this is what I think Mars mission is going to be the trademark of this generation.
Anyone want to go next? Joe, we'll go with you next, then Miriam.
Yeah, for me, as much as Mars is definitely something that I would love to see in my lifetime, it's really going back to the moon. I think that we in the society that we're in today, with the advent of social media and having more interaction between the general public and people that are doing missions, especially like we were talking about the NASA socials earlier on. It's those connections that we start utilizing, people that are doing outreach as a conduit to getting this information. I think that's what's going to really drive bringing countries together and bridging that gap that we've always had in the past, where Russia did this, or the United States did this, or JAXA did this. It's we did this, and that's the mantra that we have to push going forward. And social media and what you're doing, Ron, plays a huge role in that. So it's not every day that I can turn around and say, oh yeah, I know a guy that was just having a conversation with Elon Musk on the phone and has this great information. Or if we talk about our friend, the everyday astronaut, it's like, these are conduits that we didn't have in the past. And I can literally sit down for hours now and learn more in watching videos that my friends put out than anything that I've seen in the past. And that's a huge change for us. So yeah.
I mean, you can literally be in a room by yourself, which is exactly what we're all doing. We're in a room singularly around the world. I mean, quite literally around the world. It's Canada, it's India, it's the US, but it's also, this show has had so many people from everywhere. And it was a dream to me to think about the idea of one day having a video chat with people everywhere. And not only now it's not just a video chat, it's video chats with people that I get to work with and for some reason get to inspire. And that's crazy. So, we're going to go to, I think Miriam, I said you next, and Russ.
Yeah, Ron, I got to say, thank you for doing what you do. It's amazing that, you have this amazing platform to bring all of us together to talk about space and to inspire other people. And then with regards to your question, I think it would be a really big moment. I want to see the first woman land on Mars, yes, but I know it's going to happen on the moon first. I think that would be a really big moment for everyone. People are going to get really excited if Artemis, the mission goes through. We have the first woman actually on the moon. And then for me personally, I'm more excited about Mars because, having a permanent human settlement there is just so cool. The idea of humanity having another outpost in the solar system, for me, that's like the first step towards us being interplanetary and then just going and exploring further in the cosmos. I think it's something very exciting, and it's sort of pushing towards that Star Trek future that I love.
And we'll talk, actually, that might be the next one we're going to talk about. Will be that. But Russ, you next, sir.
Is going to be the next thing that gets people really excited. I mean, it's so diffuse now. There's so many things to get excited about for space, right? We have telescopes picking up possible signs of life on Venus. We have rocket boosters that now are reusable and they land in tandem, which is really cool to watch. But I think ultimately we get very excited about the human piece of this. And so seeing humans back on the moon, I think seeing an infrastructure between the Earth and the moon so that it's kind of like, a permanent settlement on the moon would be really amazing. I think that would be very exciting for people. And then this infrastructure where it's sort of normalized that, oh yeah, we're going to the moon, and we're going to bring some people back, and we're going to do this rotation. I think that's super exciting. And then from there on to Mars, and certainly it's even more exciting if it's an international cooperative effort, because you look at what the nations do on their own. Can you imagine if we could possibly set aside these differences that we have and cooperate? I mean, we could do such amazing things, and in such a shorter timeline too, which would be just awesome.
Well, let's talk about this here too. Like, it's the last question, and well, maybe possibly the last question before you go to Russ's next song, which everyone's thrilled about. Is there? Everyone's like, oh yes, yeah, Russ sing again. That's awesome. We just want to rub your face, you sexy mouth. But but let's talk about the things too. Like, Russ, you were a part of a program that is truly changing things. Is there something in particular in your mind that you think that we need to do more of, something we need to create? So, Sonny, you're doing so much with your company as well, and I want to hear that from you too. But Russ, I want to go to you with SLU. It's such a big thing, and it's going to change so many things, and everyone here is touching on new things. What do you think is the thing that you're going to give to people that's going to connect people to you, or a program, like a bigger thing that's going to make like such a big difference in what's going on? But Russ, especially with what you do, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, thanks. I'll tell you something that I'm working on right now, and that I really feel very strongly about, is I'm trying to put together a group of young men and women from around the world to be space ambassadors, and using SLU as a platform for that. But really, a big piece of that is that I want it to be all the people who are using SLU, because I want them not only to show that we can all get together and work on things together from all over the world, but I want them to actually do it, to get to know each other, to enable a kid from Ohio to meet another kid from India, and then to share in the joy of space together. I think that's a powerful thing, and I think it's powerful if it can happen for young people. So that's something that I'm working on, that I feel really strongly about. We're going to call them, I don't know, something like SLU student ambassadors or something like that. So working on that, trying to find the right kids, or the interested kids, or the passionate kids, or the excited kids. They just have to be kids who want to be a part of something international and something special, something bigger than themselves.
And Sonny, I know you're working on some stuff with you. You guys are doing a lot of live streams. So what is it for you that you're going to put out there, or continue to put out there? So you're doing stuff now with these, so you have webinars, you have a lot going on. Is there something that's an evolution of this, or are you just happy with what's happening now?
Yeah, so we are now planning to scale up. Like, we have a campaign of making space for millions. So we are targeting to reach out to 10 lakh students by the year 2025. So we have already expanded our team now, and we are educating them. So we have the target of providing the project-based learning experience and hands-on experience on the space technology to the students, 10 lakh students by 2025. And other thing is, like, a lot of villages in India do not have access to the education. Let's forget about the space education. They do not have the access to the basic education as well. So we want to reach out to those students, and we want to provide them the free education, and we want to train them so that they can be industry ready and they can get the opportunities in future. And it can be in any of the industries, like it can be artificial intelligence, machine learning, it can be the computer science and engineering, it can be space engineering as well. So the main purpose is right now to educate people and to reach out to as many students as possible, and looking forward to having a lot of collaborations with other institutes as well. Yeah.
Love it. So we're going to go to Miriam next. You're working on a bunch of things, so please share with us like what you're working on, or even if like you want to talk about the steps now, and then what you think is next for this.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm going to keep on doing my volunteering. So that's a big part of my involvement in the space sector. I just want to also keep on encouraging people to join the sector from whatever skills or background they have. If they have an interest, and whenever they reach out to me, I encourage them I share all these resources that were useful for me, because I want to keep on reiterating that space is for everyone. So that's one piece. And then personally, I am very intrigued these days by, the question of, is there life out there? And this was before the Venus announcement this week, but in particular for Ocean World's research. And I've been sort of striving to get more involved in the community, understand the research that's happening, and potentially get more involved myself, because I feel like this is one of those questions that, if I can even advance the research a little bit, and one day if people find life out there, it could just revolutionize our understanding of, the universe and the probability of life existing and our own place in the universe. And I think it would be a real honor to be a part of that research. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to go.
Love it. Who's next? Joe looks around like it's like, is it me? What do I do? I'm not sure. Joe, what do you think?
I'm sorry. I was just checking all these messages.
Oh, you're checking the messages, not paying attention to the show?
No, I am. It's just all the comments that are coming in for the show.
I try to tell you, man, it's the greatest show in the world. And all the people that watch this are the greatest people in the world. And if the people that are watching right now want to support us, you can support us on patreon.com/stardom. Throw $1 or $3 or $5 or $100, and we love you. Joe, what do you think? Joe.
Sorry about that. So if we can just repeat the question, because these comments have been so good. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to leave you hanging right now, Joe. I'm just going to leave you hanging. Everyone's watching you. Give us the Jupiter Joe. Where's Joe at right now? What's Joe want to do? How's Joe going to change the world?
Joe's doing the same thing he's done for the past over a decade, which is just trying to inspire people as much as possible. And in doing that, like one of the things that Russ had said earlier was trying to engage people. Like, he's trying to engage children to start utilizing SLU and act as ambassadors. And I've done similar things in my outreach, where I try and get kids inspired so that they can start teaching their parents and start teaching adults around them. Because one of the things that I've always realized is when you have children doing something that can inspire adults, it changes the whole dynamic. It's not the adults being teachers, it's now the kids being teachers. And those are the tools that we need to give them. I've seen it countless times where there's people in my building that I've given telescopes to, and those kids have turned around, and next thing I know, their parents are outside asking me questions about, well, my son saw this and they want, how can he see these other items in the sky? And I'll explain to them, but sure enough, their children will come around like, oh no, Mom, I've seen that. I've already done that. Let me show you. That right there. And I think I've said this, countless times before. Whenever I teach lessons and I see those lessons come back to me from people that I've never met before, then I know I've done my part, because at that point, someone's educated them with something that I explained to them, and it's come full circle. And I get that all the time in Times Square when I do my outreach and stuff like that. So I'm very happy with that. I hope that the next generation continues to do that. And if I can inspire somebody to do what I'm doing, just like my daughter, she does it all the time. Then I'm super excited when I see that.
I love this. So Russ is going to play us another song. So after this, we're going to do last thoughts from everyone as we wrap up for the evening. I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. You're all amazing. Again, make sure that you are subscribing if you're on Twitch. Subscribe and give all the love, pay all the things for Clear Skies Network. And Russ is going to play us a song again, and then we are going to do final thoughts from all of our people tonight. Russ, make everyone swoon.
I'll do my best.
Oh, reverb time.
I threw some reverb in there. It goes along well with this song. This is a space song. This is one that was inspired by Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot quote. I'm actually changing the reverb just a bit. Okay, so this one was inspired by Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot quote. This song is called Pale Blue Dot, so I hope you guys like this one. Do you dream about the vastness? Or do you live inside your mind? I touched the binding and the pages, they just fell away. Another story for another life. Was so hard to see. From far away. Even the giants of our histories, casting shadows from yesterday. And all of these armies, and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think we've reached the pinnacle, I can assure you that we have not. All of these armies and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think that you're untouchable, I can assure you, you are not. And love, it is a mystery, like a giant in our lives. And everyone else just backs away in deference to its size. But love can be a tragedy, like a flood upon our lives. When everyone else just gets swept away, one glance from your pale blue eyes. And all of these armies and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think we've reached the pinnacle, I can assure you that we have not. All of these armies and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think that you're untouchable, I can assure you, you are not. And time it is a mystery, the swirling eddies of our minds exist to interpret the signals that come faster all the time. Time can be a tragedy. We're always waiting for that last hard stop. Do we exist just to be blurs in motion? Does that motion wind the clock? So light a candle in the dark, we are alone on our pale blue dot. And if you think that we are unaccountable, I can assure you that we are not. And all of these armies and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think we've reached the pinnacle, I can assure you we have not. All of these armies and all of these wars, for a piece of a pale blue dot. And if you think that you're untouchable, I can assure you, you are not. So do you dream about the vastness? Or do you live inside your mind?
So yeah, about that. I mean, I'm not the only one like singing along, right? Like, all of these are hell, all these worlds. I'm just like, yeah, man, that's crazy good, man. You're it's incredible. So,
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Reverb. Thank you. So what I want to do is I want to go around the horn, give everyone their final chance to like say goodbye to everyone, your final thoughts, and where people can find you on social media and websites and all that stuff. So Miriam, we'll start with you for your final thoughts for tonight, and where again social media, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Ron, for having me here. And thanks again for providing us this platform to, share our interest for space. And I'll keep on doing my bit, I hope, in the coming decades to inspire people and to encourage them to join the space sector. And you can find me at Space Nassim on Twitter and Instagram. And, I think it's a very, very exciting time we're in, this new space age. So, I'm very excited to be a part of this, and I encourage everyone else to, join along for the ride.
Next up, Joe, tell us where you're at, your final thoughts, and all your social media stuff, and where people can, come enjoy what you do.
Well, final thoughts is I hope that I'm with the same crowd when we do actually visit Venus, and for all the other exciting things that are happening. It's a wonderful environment, and I just have to say, for Ron, I am super excited that I was there that first day holding the camera when you asked that first question to Neil, that I feel started this whole adventure that you've been on, and that you're taking us with you, on this whole adventure that inspires me every time. I get choked up every time I think about it. But
man, you don't think I didn't get choked up in that video for my birthday when you had like this long thing? Like, we want to talk about that.
But and my biggest takeaway from all of this is, Russ, I hope that you're on SoundCloud, because I want to go download some music now. So definitely let us know where you are. As far as my stuff, you guys can find me at jupiterjoesastronomy.org. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. All the links are on the website. You can find me there. And if you're in the New York area, come out and visit me sometime. I post up every time I'm coming out. And in fact, I'll be out tomorrow night in Manhattan. Visit the website to find out more. And I hope to see you guys there.
Thank you, Joe. Next up, Sonny, tell us what's going on, man. Thank you for being up so early in the morning. I know it's still only like the sun's barely coming up, and you shut up. You were here for us and shared so much of who you are, and I'm so proud of you. And already what you were doing anyway, but you've just done so much this year. So give us your final thoughts and where people can find you and Star.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. It was really a very inspirational talk for me. I really got inspired by all the people on the panel. And as Joe mentioned that, I'm expecting that we all will be together during the Venus mission as well. And I'm really looking forward to get connected with all of you guys on the social media. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter with the name Mr. Mars 27, and we'll stay in contact. Thank you so much, Ron, for this opportunity.
Man, of course, brother. So next up, we're going to go to Rach, Cosmic Rach. Rachel with your kitty.
And see what was going on. But yeah, this was really fun. Ron, I really appreciate this, being a part of just, everything, and being, in this very amazing, wonderful group of people that are all passionate about space in different ways. All right, he's done now. Bye. But you can all find me at Cosmic Rachel on Twitter. That's where I do a lot of my space content. On Instagram, it's more fashion geared. There's something for everyone, I hope. But I guess I just encourage all of you to talk about space with the people that you love, with your friends, with your family, people that you don't love, people that you know on the street. Never be shy to talk about.
So we lost you for like 10 seconds. So can you tell us the last sentence?
No, that was the best part.
Please
it was
hear
very
the
sentimental.
sentimentalism again, please.
I'll end it with talk to everyone that you know, people that you don't know about space, and just never
Love
be
it.
shy. Always.
Russ,
be
we're gonna
curious.
end with you. That you made us all cry tonight with your gorgeous music and being the man. All the stuff that you're doing, where people can find your music, where they can hire you for that, and also all the stuff that you do with a slew in that amazing program.
Yeah, first I want to mention that this has just it's been so much fun. I've learned a ton being on the show with you guys, so that was great. Thanks for sharing your stories and your perspectives. you can find me at, I have a website, it's russglenn.com, just my name, 2 S's, 2 N's. And at Russ Glenn Music, that's for Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So that's for music. If you're interested in SLOO stuff, so space science, just visit slooh.com, www.slooh. It's a word that is sort of an amalgamation of when a telescope moves from one object to another, it slews. And so it's a slightly different spelling because it's got the ooh in there. So anyway, it's fun. So come check us out at SLOO. If you know a teacher or student who's interested, I want to help them. That's my job. That's my passion. And then for music, russglenn.com.
An amazing night tonight, guys. Everyone that's been listening, I know there's so many people all over the place. We've had really one of the best nights we've ever had, and I love this too. Like outside of the huge days when we have Neil deGrasse Tyson and we're talking about a really big thing, this has been a great night. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you all next week. We're going to do a whole thing about planetariums and different shows like that. So next week's going to be a great show too. We can't wait to see you there, and we can't wait to see you then. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, guys.